I still vividly remember that night. The air on the set was damp after it rained for a while that afternoon. The smell of wet earth mixed with the smell of tea from a large thermos that the property team always carried with them. The spotlights were still partially on, indicating the filming process had just ended for the day. Everyone was busy tidying up the equipment, but my eyes accidentally caught something a little interesting. Dylan Wang and Bai Lu, two big names who are now the center of attention in the drama we are working on, suddenly disappeared from the crowd. At first, I thought they had gone back to their respective vans for a break. But no, I knew exactly the two had just finished a long, tiring scene. And usually after such a scene, Bai Lu would sit in her chair playing with a mobile phone, while Dylan joked with the camera team. But this time, both disappeared at the same time. My curiosity arose, not because I wanted to interfere in other people's affairs, but because I was on duty in the documentation section on the set. So, it's only natural that I want to make sure all the actors are still around the set, especially if there's a behind-the-scenes session that hasn't been recorded yet. "Have you seen Dylan?" I asked one of the lighting crews. "No, it's still here. Same Bai Lu too," he replied as he pointed towards the back of the tent. I followed the direction shown. The road is somewhat downhill, towards a small area on the edge of an artificial park that is not too crowded. Usually the place is used to store additional property, a few flower pots, wicker chairs, and large umbrellas. But that night, the atmosphere was calm. And that's where I saw them. Dylan and Bai Lu sat on a long wooden bench under the dim garden lights. Bai Lu leaned back with a chuckle, while Dylan held a small camera, the instant camera he used to carry everywhere. I think they're both taking pictures. From afar, I could hear a little of their conversation interspersed with quiet laughter. "Try to see the results," Bai Lu said as he leaned over. Not yet. It's not dry yet," Dylan replied quickly, covering the photo with both hands. "Why the hell? I just want to see if my face looks weird or not." "Even if it's weird, the important thing is that I look good," Dylan adds with his trademark teasing style. Bai Lu snorted as he patted her shoulder lightly. "The narcissist never decreases." "But you want to take a picture together first," Dylan replied in a winning tone. I held back a quiet laugh behind the tree, trying not to interrupt the moment. In fact, the scene is very sweet. Two great actors who usually appear professional in front of the camera now look like two friends who are enjoying a carefree time. No glare of lights, no script, only natural laughter and light conversation. About 5 minutes later, Dylan stood up, reaching out towards Bai Lu. "Come on, walk for a minute. I know a place that has a small fish pond behind the set building," he said. "Now, isn't it already night?" "That's exactly what it was," Dylan replied in a relaxed tone. "Nobody calm down." I don't know if Bai Lu nodded in agreement or because she was already too lazy to refuse, but what was clear was that they were walking hand in hand. Unknowingly, I followed them from afar. Not for eavesdropping, but because I knew the back area of the set was a bit dark, and I thought, who knows, they might need help if suddenly the park lights went out again like last week. Once we arrived at the small pond, the atmosphere was completely deserted. There was only the sound of crickets and splashing water from a small shower. Dylan sat on the edge of the rock, while Bai Lu stood behind him, looking at the surface of the water. The reflection of the garden lights in the water made their faces look soft, like a scene in a romantic drama. "Funny, yeah. A place like this never even thought of being used as a filming location," Bai Lu said slowly. "If it is used as a filming location, it will not calm down anymore. Everyone will know this secret place," Dylan replied. Bai Lu smiled a little, then looked at him. "So this is your secret place?" "Now our secret place," Dylan said softly but audibly. For some reason, the word "we" sounds warm. There was something in Dylan's way of saying it, not gibberish, but sincerity. Bai Lu looked a little speechless, but then laughed it off. "You like to make sentences that make people misunderstand." Dylan turned his head, looking at her with a casual but deep look. "If the person misunderstood, it means that he thinks about me more than he realizes." I almost choked on my own air hearing that. In my heart, I murmured, "Dylan, are you an actor or a poet?" Bai Lu instead covered her face with her hands while laughing embarrassedly. "Oh my God, you haven't changed." They sat side by the pool. Dylan began tossing small bread flakes he had picked up from the cafeteria earlier. Small fish swam closer, making the water wavy. Bai Lu watched with a calm face. Rarely had I seen her so relaxed on set. Usually he is always busy checking the script or joking with the crew. But here, he looks peaceful. It's getting late. The air began to cool, but the two were in no hurry to return. "It's going to be a tough day," Bai Lu said suddenly. "Yes, but I'm more afraid of your grumpy scenes," Dylan said, pretending to be wary. "When you're really angry, it's like you've got a broken heart." Bai Lu looked at him, then laughed. "It's called professional." "Professional, but sometimes too real," Dylan teased. "It's like when you hit the glass, I think you're really tired of me." Who told you to improvise in the middle of my dialogue? I forgot the script." "That's exactly what makes the scene good," Dylan said proudly. The two looked at each other for a moment, then laughed again. I began to feel as if I was watching another drama, an original version that would never be broadcast on television. They are not acting, but somehow the chemistry is stronger than any scene on the screen. After a while, Bai Lu stood up, squirming slowly. "Okay, just relax. I have to get home before my manager realizes I'm missing." Dylan stood up, patting his slightly soiled pants for sitting on a rock. "Wait, once again, photos first," he said as he took out the instant camera earlier. Bai Lu chuckled, but still smiled. "Seriously, how many photos are you taking today?" "As if it were you, it wouldn't be enough," Dylan replied quickly. And before Bai Lu had time to refuse, Dylan had already photographed the two of them, this time with a natural expression. Dylan looked at the camera, while Bai Lu looked at him with a chuckle. A small flash lights up, creating a soft glow between them. I felt like it was the perfect moment to end. Without wanting to disturb, I retreated slowly, leaving them under the dim light of the garden lamp. The next morning, on the set, everyone looked as busy as ever. But I had a chance to see something that made me smile. On Bai Lu's dressing table, there was a Polaroid photo tucked in the mirror frame. The same photo taken the night before. In the photo, Dylan appears to be smiling broadly, while Bai Lu appears to be laughing with her eyes closed. There's no sign they're acting, just two people who seem to really enjoy simple company. I didn't know what they were really talking about that night, or how the laughter felt. But as someone who often watches their interactions from behind the scenes, I know one thing. They have a unique way of creating balance amid the rush and pressure of filming. Cheerful and spontaneous Bai Lu, relaxed but attentive Dylan, the combination is like fresh air in the hustle and bustle of the entertainment world. Even as rumors of their closeness began to surface, the two remained professional. But after that night, I began to understand why their on-screen chemistry felt so natural. They not only build connections for the benefit of drama, but also build a comfort that grows out of trust and genuine laughter. A few weeks later, when the shooting schedule was almost over, I idly asked Dylan, "You've got a lot going on with Bai Lu, haven't you?" He looked at me, then smiled faintly. "Because some moments can only be enjoyed once, but can be remembered forever if photographed." That answer left me speechless for a moment. In my heart, I thought, yeah, maybe that night in that little park was one of those moments Dylan wanted to keep forever. And every time I see their behind the scenes photos, whether on Instagram or on the production team's memory board, I'm reminded of that lonely night. A night when two big stars choose to stay away from the crowd, just to enjoy the tranquility, small laughs, and simple togetherness in a quiet place. Sometimes, it is precisely in that silence that the most sincere relationships are seen.